have a very special guest joining us off the top of the show this morning, Columbus City Attorney Zach Klein. Hi.
Hello, great to be back on.
We love having you.
I feel like I'm a regular.
Yes, we love it. Well, you're welcome here anytime.
Yeah, thank you.
But on a more serious note, we were
Yes.
talking about two serious operations that just unfolded last week, and this was involving spas, prostitution, and human trafficking. Talk to us about the two locations that were busted and how long that investigation took to uncover.
Well, first, giving a lot of credit to the Human Trafficking Task Force. So this is a group of law enforcement officials that involve state, county, like our local Columbus Division of Police that work undercover. They work really hard building these cases of human trafficking that's existing all over Columbus and Central Ohio. And this is the latest, example of them uncovering a human trafficking operation that was taking place in these two spas, Rejuvenation and Red Beans. Looks like there's similar ownership and just really evidence that sexual activity was occurring, that women were being really held captive to perform, certain acts as under the guise of massage. But the reality was there were a lot of sex acts involved. So kudos to the Division of Police and the Human Trafficking Task Force for building these cases so that we have the evidence to be able to go to court and shut these places down and then be able to extricate and pull the women out of these situations, give them the help and services they need.
And I know, these investigations, they're not a speedy thing, but we look at the case of Rejuvenation, which these complaints started coming in 7 years ago in 2019. I mean, what took so long?
That's honestly, the investigatory practice is probably left best to be answered by the task force or the CPD. But I can tell you that generally speaking, that you get complaints, you maybe see some evidence, and then you go back and maybe you don't see evidence for a while, then you get some more evidence, or you talk to some new people, or some players change. So you do your best to build these cases over time based on what is presented to you, what you can get from probable cause and search warrants to be able to pull even evidence out of trash cans when there's condoms or used prophylactics that show evidence of sexual misconduct that's going on inside what otherwise is being called a legitimate business.
So that case, Rejuvenation, right, is being in the environmental court.
Yeah, so this is a collaboration
for
with
nuisance abatement.
That's right, because we're declaring it a nuisance. So this is also a collaboration with the county prosecutor, Shayla Favor, because the one location is located in Dublin, outside my jurisdiction, inside her jurisdiction, and then one is in the city of Columbus, even though there appears to be common ownership.
So why not criminal charges? Why not criminal prosecution?
There certainly could be. I mean, these are all felony level accusations, and so if there's ability to take a case in front of the grand jury, I have no doubt that County Prosecutor Favor will do that. I don't prosecute felonies. I prosecute misdemeanors in the city of Columbus. So like the felony prosecution, the juvenile prosecution, that's all done by the county prosecutor.
And when we talk prostitution and especially the human trafficking element of this, typically the unfortunate circumstance that comes with this is it's preying on the vulnerabilities of women and men sometimes who are in less than ideal circumstances, and they are then taken advantage of and kept in those situations. It's a hard thing to investigate and a hard thing to prove. From your experience, we were kind of talking before the program here, some of these situations that it affects a wide range of people.
Yeah, it does. And, a lot of times when people think of prostitution or to some degree human trafficking, their thoughts could range from like everyday street level prostitution all the way up to the movie Taken, where it's like someone snatched off a street and it is involved in being trafficked. But the reality is it's everything in between. It is street level prostitution that we see on the streets every day, where human traffickers use primarily drug addiction to hold drugs over women's head, have them perform sex acts for money so that they can get the drugs that they need to drive their addiction.
How many victims were there, and what resources are now being offered to them?
But look, we even on the street level side or situations like this, we want to make sure that our social service agencies that have expertise in this space are there to wrap their hands around these really vulnerable women that are being taken advantage of. But in addition to the street level, we also have this. We have evidence of human trafficking taking place at some spas. And oftentimes, like, this sort of level of human trafficking can involve, like taking someone's documents away and saying, like, we will not give you the documents till you pay us $10,000. And by the way, here's how you can make up that $10,000. So it's some sort of coercive, like, pressure that you have over someone, either exploiting an addiction, exploiting a financial weakness, that you're getting them to do the acts that you want to do. And the reality is these human traffickers, they're criminals. They need to be held accountable, and we need to make sure that we devote the appropriate amount of resources to really drop the hammer on these traffickers so they go to prison for a very long time.
And I know you said you were warning other businesses that basically we are paying attention. Your office is paying attention. How widespread do you think this issue is across Central Ohio?
I don't have a number on that. We certainly received we've received complaints from about other places that potentially could be engaged in, shady business dealings. And I think it's our job, to help direct police and support them legally in their investigations, to make sure that when they do the investigations, it's legally tight, so we have good evidence to present to the court. And we'll see where it goes. But the reality is, it does happen. It can happen in Central Ohio. It has, as evidenced by these two places. And there's really no reason to believe, that there may not be more places doing it. And so we should keep the full steam ahead approach to do really good investigations to save people's lives.
And for the victims of this, obviously, we can't just say, you know what, we've arrested the person who is abusing you, who has basically held you in this like servitude position. The after effects, obviously, there has to be those wraparound services. Who are some of those services that are working to help these women move on to their next steps, move past this experience?
Well, there's several, but I will say some major players in this space is the Salvation Army. She Has a Name, Freedom a la carte. I mean, there's all sorts of really well-resourced institutions that are in our community that have the expertise to be able to save and really support the women in these times of need. And especially on the street level side, so many of them are moms that are like desperately wanting to reconnect with their kids. And being able to get them the jobs, get them sober, get them the opportunity so they can be the moms they want to be. That, like, when you see that happen, that is really just like a heartwarming and great example of why we do this work, is because these women typically are victims. Are they, like, by the letter of the law committing a crime of prostitution? Yes. But the reality is they're victims of crime because of their human traffickers.
Mm-hmm. So should the public expect more investigations and possible shutdowns like this in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's safe to say the public should expect more investigations, and all we can do is follow the evidence to see where it goes.
Okay.
And, we've seen kind of the wide range of, here in Columbus, just in the past couple of years, really, the wide range of what human trafficking can look like. Obviously, we had that situation, at least some people have classified what happened at Colonial Village as that, when we had the large number of Haitians moved in on fraudulent leases under somebody who was taking their money to live in these kind of places. So we see it look like that. And now we're talking about massage parlors, but we're also talking about street level prostitution. It really shows the wide range out of what people, I think, might typically think human trafficking can be.
Yeah, I mean, look, human trafficking can take on many forms. It can take on street-level prostitution. It can take on the massage parlors. Human trafficking can be involved with workers coming to the United States, and some contractors, especially in the construction world. Talking to some of my labor friends, there could be workers out there that they're paying off a debt, and because they're paying off a debt, maybe to come into the United States, for example, that they're being like this pressure is being held over their heads, this servitude, that they're being trafficked, they're being exploited in order for someone to profit off of it. Now, how they exploit them, maybe it's because they don't have the proper documents to be in the United States. Maybe it's because they have a drug addiction, but someone is exploiting a vulnerability and a weakness and the control over them in order to get a financial gain.
How can the public help?
Just be the eyes and ears. I mean, there's the see something, say something approach, honestly, is the gold standard, because police have limited resources. My office has limited resources, but the community is omnipresent. And so trust your gut. And if you see something, if it's an emergency, obviously always call 911. But if it's a non-emergent situation and you want to have a tip, you can always call CPD's non-emergency line. You can call my office. The Human Trafficking Task Force has a hotline. Those tips are all investigated. And so I would just encourage the public to be vigilant so that we all can, fight crime together and make our community safe.
All right. Zach Klein, hey, I appreciate it.
Thank you
Always
for
a pleasure.
coming on.
I love it.